Hi everyone, it's Paula from Paula Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. I've got another quilt to bind, and I was really enjoying doing the big stitch on the last few quilts, and I thought I will kind of try to make it even more interesting. So in this tutorial I'll show you another way how you can finish your binding using combination of the big stitch and additional stitches, which I will show you in a minute. Okay, so what I did, I finished my binding, or I sewn my binding on the left side first of all by machine, and I actually did make it so the front is longer than the back. I have kind of covered that in one of my tutorials, and I will link in the description below. And I did the big stitch binding here. Again, I got the tutorial, I'll link it in the description below. The only difference is I went with that stitch a little bit higher. If I was just using this big stitch only, I would have gone a little bit more towards the edge of the binding, but because I will be adding another stitch, then I went a little bit higher here. So that's all completed, and what I want to do, I'm using a pearl cotton here. I've got some number 8, I've got some different colors, and I've matched mine with, well, more or less with what I used to quilt that quilt. So but you use whatever color you like. You could even use 2 different colors, one color to do the big stitch and then second color to do additional those details. So once you've done your big stitch, what you want to do is start another thread somewhere, and you want to come out in between those 2 stitches here. Now you can decide the kind of distances there however you like it. I will hide this in a bit, kind of thread it through so you won't see that edge, but for now I'm just going in between those 2 threads, and then I will go down, making sure it doesn't pull to the other side, and I will come up again in another point just next to that first one. Just double check because I feel like I'm going through. So when I'm recording, it's a quite awkward angle I have to do it under. It's obviously easier if you just doing it and holding it better, but let's try that. Just take that end here, I will lose it a little bit later. So that's one of my legs, and then I will go down again, but then I want to go an angle and go in between again the next stitch. Now I'm going to be doing just 2 of my kind of legs here, but depending what your distance here on how you like it, you can add 3rd leg if you wish to. The legs do not have to be straight, they can go on the angles here, so you've got few options how you can use that secondary stitch to add the interest to your binding. Here you go. Because it's a big stitch, to do that first line of the binding kind of stitching, this goes very quickly, and once you kind of set yourself up, the second line will go very quickly too. So here at the bottom I want to be just by the edge of my binding. So I will carry on, you know, just a little bit more around so you have a better view of how it can look when it's done. And then I'm just going to take few pictures for you to do some close-ups. And doing the corners, this is how I finish with my big stitch here. When I get to here, so I will have 2 legs here. I could potentially have maybe like a triangle leg here. Again, your imagination can kind of give you an idea, but I will obviously show you how I finish the corner as well. Right, so let me carry on, and I will show you how it looks when it's kind of bigger area is finished with that stitch. So I've came back now to the beginning, so I started here, I finished on the other side, and now I need to lose my thread. So how do I want to do it? I will just go kind of on few of those, I will go double. So this is where my thread is coming out, and this is the previous stitch. I will go through that stitch again, and then I just go to the next one straight. I just want to overlap a little bit, so I know nothing will kind of move those stitches after I cut the thread. And I'm just going here, and then where I've got the bigger gap here, I can go under there and do a little bit of loop there, like you would normally do, like when you finish the thread anywhere else, and just loop it and close that. It will kind of hide under that little bit of patch there. Just do it twice. And then again I will do another two stitches to go to another gap. I go from the bottom. Again I will overlap a little bit. It might be a little bit of overkill, but I would rather make sure my stitches do not go anywhere than kind of leave it to a chance that it may unravel in some point. And again, once I'm coming here, I can go to the gap. If this gap is too small, it's not letting you, go to the next gap. This gap is much bigger, so I will just overlap until I go there. I don't have to overlap every stitch. I can go directly to like few stitches ahead. I just make sure I don't go under. I felt with my finger that my needle was sticking out there, so I just go straight here, then I go under, and then I go under again to hide my stitches. And again I will loop a couple of times, and from here I can just go anywhere else I want as long as my needle let me. Just making sure I'm not sticking out at the bottom of the needle. So let's just do it again. Yep, I can pull the thread out, and I can now cut this thread in this spot here. I'm just going to pull it a little bit, so when I cut it and I straighten it, it goes inside. And done. And that thread will not go anywhere, and my binding is finished. Thank you very much for joining me today for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you will use this binding in one or another quilt. It really looks very effective, and it was very easy to make. Maybe a little bit longer because you have to go twice around the quilt, but because you are doing big stitches, it really goes very quickly. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would be grateful if you do so now. Please be sure to share this channel with your friends so they can also enjoy those tips and tricks. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.